Morning all. So we are here in Manchester Airport doing a flight to Dublin today, so we've just had pushback from the gate and we're going to start our taxi to the runway. Should be a pretty quick flight. It's really not that far to Dublin from Manchester, especially once you sort of do the climb, tiny little cruise, and then you're more or less straight into the descent. Let this truck go past. Make our way down to the runway. So air traffic want us at 10,000 feet initially for the climb. So the eagle-eyed amongst you will see I've got that already set up and ready to go. And I've got the speed set to 246. No particular rhyme or reason behind that. It was more that I wanted to have a speed that was under 250, and that's kind of where I landed on my mouse wheel as I was spinning away prior to hitting record. So we want to keep it under 250 while we are under 10,000 feet, and 246 is near enough our top speed for that portion of the flight. Anyway, I'll leave you with some scenic montages of the taxi, and I'll catch up with you on the runway. Okay, so we just got clearance from air traffic to head out onto runway 23 right and take off. So let's get the show on the road. So given the runway we're taking off from and the direction we're taking off from, we're going to be heading out to the west, and we should get a view of Liverpool on the right of the aircraft. Okay, we're looking good. Let's get ourselves lined up. That's looking pretty good. Right, everything's looking good. Altitude, speed, headings set to auto, so the minute we engage autopilot we're good to go. I think it's time we got out of here. Let's go. We started to think about rotating. Gear up. Get the flaps retracted. Start to make our climb and first turn. Let's bring the thrust back to climb. Good stuff. So we are on our way to 10,000 feet. As you can see over here, our heading, that little dot, means that the heading is being managed by the plane. Auto throttle down here is armed, which means it is going to target a speed of 246 knots. And I've got the autopilot engaged, which is good. So we're climbing at around, where are we? 2,100 feet per minute. Everything's looking good. Hardly any wind. I mean, it is sort of a headwind, but 2 knots isn't going to make or break anything. So you can see over here, look, that's the plane sitting bang on 246 knots, which is what we want. And we said about the 2,100 feet per minute climb rate. You can see there that the plane is also achieving that. We're almost halfway to 10,000. So that should be Liverpool, I think, out in that general direction. Yeah, so Liverpool's going to be sort of over here. I think that there is Liverpool Airport. Unless my geography's failing me, which it might be. Okie dokie. So it won't be long till we make our turn. Should give us a slightly better view of Liverpool. That being the case, we'll have a look around the plane, get some different views, see what the passengers will be seeing, and we'll catch up probably just before the descent. Alright, we're back. I told you it wouldn't take long. So I think it's about time. We're sitting at 21,000 feet. About 300 knots, well, a little under. So we're starting to get to that point in the flight where we need to be getting ahead of the aircraft. So I'm going to start to bring us down to about 10,000 feet. You can hear the engines. See the engines, in fact, down here, spooling back. Shouldn't take too long to get down, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. And you can see there on the GPS display, starting to begin our turns into Dublin. It's going to be a fairly straight, direct approach, actually, because we're just going to basically come in, hit the coast in a straight line, and land. There'll be no turns to speak of, really. Okay, so that's the majority of our descent over. This is where the fun bit starts. So, let's get our speed down to 140 knots. So I've got the auto throttle controlling the speed. We can ignore what the altitude is saying, because I've turned on the ILS system and I've engaged the approach mode, so the plane is actually keeping us in line with the runway at the moment. As you can see here, look at these diamonds. The plane is keeping them exactly where they need to be. So if the diamond were above this yellow line, that would indicate to us that the glide slope is above us, therefore we are too low. Equally, if it's beneath the yellow line, we're too high, because that would mean the glide slope is beneath us. And down here on the horizontal axis, if it were to the left, it would mean the runway's to the left. And we need to kind of get ourselves over to the left, and then it would bring it back in line into centre. So let's have a look out the window here, see what's going on. I'm going to disable the autopilot because, frankly, kind of most of the fun is in doing it yourself. So we've got gear down, flap set to max, speed at 140. Everything looks good. I don't know if you've noticed, since I've released the autopilot, the plane is basically holding its position. I haven't touched the controls. I suspect I will need to shortly, though. As you can see, tiniest little bit of drift starting to happen there on the horizontal axis. That diamond looks like it's shifting over to the left. So let's do some very, very small adjustments. By small adjustments, I mean small adjustments. Yeah, so we need to be over a little bit further to the left. Very, very fine adjustments. Very easy at this point in the flight to overcook it a little bit. Push a little bit too far in haste, in one direction or the other. There we go. Which I think I may have just done. I think we can correct that, that's fine. So at around 50 or 40 feet I should be dropping the throttles back to idle. There we go. And allow the plane just to gently rest itself down onto the runway. So the pappies are happy, 2 red, 2 white. Just a touch below there. Okay, so we're going to start thinking about dropping those throttles back. Reversers at the ready, start to flare the aircraft. And we're down. Reversers. Using the brakes on the rudder pedals. And disengage those thrusters. We're down. I would have preferred it if we were a little bit quicker on the touchdown there. I felt like we hovered for a little bit too long. As I've said before, this isn't supposed to be me lecturing you on how to fly a plane on Flight Simulator. This is much more of a learning journey, let's call it. I do not profess to know everything about this at all. I'm just a guy that likes to experiment and have fun with Flight Simulator. I'm not a pilot. Just a keen amateur. Let me know in the comments what style of video you prefer. Do you prefer these sort of more raw, unedited videos of me sort of nattering over them? Slightly longer than the more showcasey style videos where more heavily edited, moving between camera views, that sort of thing. Let me know. I'm still not sure. I keep going between the two. Anyway, I think that'll do it from me. If you've made it this far, please know I do appreciate you watching. I really do. It staggers me that people watch it at all. People sort of encouraged me to do this, and I was like, wow, nobody will watch. Turns out people really do. It's been really cool to talk to some people in the comments. So I think, essentially, if you're watching this, you're probably into very similar stuff to me and the rest of the audience. So I kind of like the community aspect to it. And with that, I shall wish you a good day. Appreciate you watching.